Hello, everybody. Nothing new today. We're just gonna see if you have any questions about the review that you were working on. If you don't understand things, now would be a good time to bring up what's going on. So hopefully it wasn't too difficult for you. The review is attached to the classroom, so it's not out of the book or anything. I made it. It's attached to the classroom. No, if you don't have any questions, you don't have to watch it. We are not taking notes. We're not doing anything new. It is just if you have questions about the review. It's just applying everything that we've done in the past 2 weeks. For that, I will give you answers to it on Monday. Um, but yeah, that's all we're doing today. Next week we'll get into a little more operations with percents. I'm not sure if your book gets into all of it, but it's stuff worth knowing. So when does it due? I'd like it by Monday. I think it says on by Friday, but I'd like it done by Monday. I mean, the idea was that, hey, this is what you work on today. Um, Again, I'm trying to give you like 40 minutes of math a day and then your science, because that's what you normally get in school. I'm not sure if that's asking too much yet or not. Um, I haven't gotten many complaints about the amount of work I'm given, but if I need to slow down, let me know. I know there's like individual issues that come up, people have been telling me, but I mean, try your best to get it in. I'm not gonna take points for things being late. However, if you just don't do it, then yeah, I'm gonna take points for it. So, but yeah, you're looking at your review that was attached to your Google Classroom, and just kind of try it out. And if you have questions on it, I can do it. Write the percent as a decimal 14. Catherine, you're moving a decimal point. Is this homework? Yes, this will be your work for today. And again, I'd like it by Monday, but if you have like family issues that come up and stuff like that, I can understand. It's attached to your classroom. It looks like this. So your first set, you're just changing these percents to decimals. And then this, or I'm sorry, this one you're changing them to fractions. This one you're changing them to decimals. This you're changing the percent or the decimal or fraction to a percent. Can 13/500ths be simplified? No, 13 is a prime number. So you can't, the only factors for 13 are 1 in itself. Right, and then there's the stuff we did this week is down here. Let me get that back in. 15. For 15, it's 334%, and it's asking you to make this a decimal. Just move your decimal point 2 places away, once, twice. 334% is equal to 3.34. That's all you're doing. You're multiplying it by, or you're dividing it by 100. Moves the decimal point 2 places away from the percent sign, and you get your decimal. Stuff you've been doing in the last week, so not this week. It's just, you got to get good at it because we never use the percent part in calculations. We always make it a decimal first. Yeah, that's it, Catherine. You just, yep. That's all it's asking you to do is make that decimal percent. So you just move the decimal point 2 places. I mean, you could have done it as like 334 divided by 100, and then actually divide that out, but all that that's going to do is going to give you, it's just going to move that decimal point 2 places. When you're making things into fractions, just remember your definition of percents. So a percent is parts of 100. So your percent's your part, and your hundred's your whole. So this is equal to 30 over 100. And then you just reduce it. So I can reduce this by, I can divide each by 2. I can get 15 out of 50. And that can go by 5, so I guess I could have done more than that. Erase that part. And that's just your definition. Divide by 5. And therefore that's 3 out of 10. Now, if you don't have any questions, you don't need to be here. I will give you answers and stuff so you can check them on Monday. But your work was just to practice and review. So it's just drilled today. If you don't have questions, you don't have to be here. If you understand everything, then you're good. 25, right as a percent. So here we're given 6.25, and you want this as a percent. Here you just move your decimal point back to 2 places. So that equals 625%. Again, you know the percents out of 100. And this here is 6.25. So you can solve that. Okay, we can put that over 1 and cross multiply if you want to do it that way. But again, it's just going from decimals and percents, you're just moving your decimal point. So that's your answer for that. As always, if you find you have a question later on, you can always email me too in simplest form. What number is that? My sound card's acting up. Yeah, this will be graded, but I'll give you the answers. So it'll be a grade. And what number is that? Number 2? You want to make it as a fraction. So it's going to be 2.6 over 100. There's your fraction. However, you don't want a decimal in your fraction. So what you're going to do is you're going to multiply each by 10 to get that out. Which gives you 26 over 1,000. And then you want to reduce it from there. I know I can take out 2 because they're both even numbers, and that gives you half of 26. Yeah, that's 13, right? Yeah. It's 13, and half of 1,000 is 500. And that is what Eli was asking. You can't reduce that. 13, you should note, is prime. So it can't. The only factors are 1 itself, and 1's not going to change anything. And 500, I don't think, is divisible by 13. I'd be surprised if it was. No. So this would be the simplest term. For number 13, it would be 0.3. That's right, Catherine. 13 would be 0.3. You have 30%. Just move it twice. Once, twice equals 0.3. I mean, if you notice, the first 12 and the second 12 are the same percentages. One's just asking to make a fraction, and one's making a decimal. So if you want to make the decimal out of the fraction, you can too. It's just a little easier to make the decimal from the percent because you just divide by 100, which moves your decimal point 2 places. "17 is confusing." I'll do 17 first, and then I'll get to you. It's the same process, Finn. Move the decimal point 2 places. Once, twice, 0.375 for all of them. What I mean by find the part, Anna, is what we did Tuesday. Yeah, I think it was Tuesday. But if you're going to do find the part, you can always plug into percent over 100 equals is over of. And this here would be your part, because that's the fraction. Sometimes I write it like this. Part over whole. Yes, Catherine. 23. Yeah, 62.5%. Once, twice. 0.625. Getting pretty good at that. Yeah, I guess I probably could have wrote those a little better and used O instead of a 0 for that one. I don't know if that fixes it on yours or not. But like, for example, 37, you have 75%, so 75 is your percent. 100 always stays the same. Of is your bottom number here, so that's 24, and you don't know that one. You can cross multiply to solve that. And you can use this for the whole second page. So this will help you find the part, /% / whole. This will work for all of this. You just got to remember what you're looking for. Yeah, and you can use your notebook. Go right ahead. That's why you have a notebook. 14 and 14 and 16. Catherine, it's the same thing you were doing. Just don't let any number confuse you. 14 is 2.6%. Move that 2 places, once, twice. This one you just need to put a placeholder in. So it's going to equal 0.026. And 16, you're going to add some placeholders as well. 0.25%, once, twice. Put in that placeholder. 0.0025. But those ones are a bit tricky. And then 19 and 21 are going to be very similar. 22, you're going to need a placeholder. But yeah. How I remember to move the decimal. If it has the percent sign and you want to make it into a decimal, you're going away from the percent towards the decimal. So your percent would be, for example, 14, you have like 2.6, you move away from the percent sign, right? percent signs here, you want to move away from it. The other way to think of that is you're dividing, and it makes the number smaller. Your percent will always be a bigger number than your decimal. So 2.6 is going to be bigger than 0.026. If you want to make the decimal into a percent, so if you're going to do decimal 2%, you move it toward the percent sign, or where the percent sign should be. So in that case, you'll get to 2.6%. I guess I'll put the answer there too. But again, if you remember that the percent should be a larger number than the decimal, I mean, then you can just like look at it and be like, oh, did I move it the right way afterwards? But the percent's always going to be a larger number. Even though they're the same number, it's just going to be written as a larger number. It gets the same value. Uh, 30, I tried my best to write a mixed number. So hopefully you read that right. But 30, and I'll get to 32 right after. 30 is looking at 7 and 4/25. What you can do is you can just turn, and it wants it as a percent, you can turn the 4/25 into the decimal, and then just tack on the whole number 7. But you probably want to either make this an improper fraction or make this a decimal. I would make it a decimal first. So I would turn it to a decimal and then I would turn it to a percent. I just think it might be easier that way. So 7 and 4/25. 4/25 is a decimal. It is 4 divided by 25.16. So this as a decimal, as the decimal here, is 7.16. And then as the percent, once, twice, 716%. The other way to do that is to make that an improper fraction into, well, that mixed number into an improper fraction. 7 times 25 gives you 7 times 25 gives you 117 plus 4. That gives you 179 over 25, and you want this to be 100, so times 4 and times 4 will give you your 716. So either way, I just think this way is probably easier. .32 says 0.035. And again, you're making this into a percent. So what you're going to do is you're going to move the decimal point the other way this time. It's going to be 3.5%. So you're going towards a percent. So you move the decimal point towards where the percent sign should be. Number 4 says 0.25% is the same thing as, and this one says a fraction. So just be careful with it. You're taking this number here and putting it over 100, so 0.25 over 100. And again, you don't like the decimal point in there. So you want to move it out. So I'm going to move it out twice, which means I'm going to move this one twice. So I'm going to multiply this by 100. I'm going to multiply this by 100. Is what's really happening, and I'm going to get 25 on top over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you can divide it. So I can divide that by 25 and this by 25, and I get 1 over, I have no clue what that is. 25 divided by 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I'm sorry. Divided by 25 is 400. So that's number 4 for you, Gianna. Again, take your percent, put it over 100, and then just reduce the fraction. Again, this was frowned upon because we have the decimal, so just move the decimal point out. Whatever you do at the top, you got to do the bottom though. So I moved it twice, moved this twice. Then I just reduced from here. It's 36, 0.8, I don't know. 36 should be... Yeah, just don't forget your percent sign. And Catherine, go back to 32 and put the percent sign too. 0.0018, this is what, 36? Once, twice, it's right here, 0.18%. Yeah, if you know what you're doing, you can. I'm not holding you here. Again, try to get this done by Monday. And if not, make sure you ask questions on Monday what it is. And if you have questions later on, you can always email me, and I can help you out that way too. 28. So here you're given a fraction, and it wants it as a percent. So remember, fractions are parts of 100, so just set that equal to something that's over 100. And you can solve that way. Cross multiplying might be your best bet here, because I'm not sure what times 40 is going to equal 100. So I'm going to do 7 times 100, which gives me 700, and 40 times x, which gives me x, well, 40x. And then I just divide by 40, divide by 40, and I'm not sure what 700 divided by 40 is. 17.5 equals x. That cancels. So this is 17.5%. Number 12. Number 10, you're writing that. Yes, Gianna, as long as that's not reducible, which I don't think it is, but double check some factors and make sure. But I think 10 is 47 over 1,000. And that's a good fraction. If it's reducible, then reduce it. If not, that's your answer. 12 is 175%. And this one she has a fraction. So again, we're making this a fraction. So again, you can always just put it as all your percents over 100. Well, that's what you're doing is 175 over 100. There's your fraction. It's asking you for a mixed number though, so how many times does 100 go into that? It goes once with 75 left over, and that reduces down to 1 and 3/25. 3/4, sorry. 1 and 3/4. Yeah, I can divide each by 25. And again, think quarters when it comes to 25s, 75s, things like that. Reduce it, Catherine. Divide each by 2. What's half of 26 and what's half of 1,000? Very good, Catherine. 26 asks for 4.5 as a percent. You could tell me what 4 is as a percent and what half is as a percent and add them and get, 450%. That's one way to do it. But again, you want to put this as a denominator of 100, so it would be 4.5, and you want the fraction part as a denominator of 100. So I'm going to write 1/2 as a denominator of 100, which is 2 times 50 times 50. You can get 50 over 10, so it becomes 4 and 50 over 100, which is, well, really the 4 as with a denominator of 100 is going to be, right, 400 plus 50 over 100, which is going to be equal to that 450%. That's one way to look at it. Again, I would pull it apart. I'd pull it apart and just reason through that. Right? You got 4 and you got 1/2. 4 as a percent is 400%. 1/2 as a decimal is 0.5, and that as a percent is 50%. And then you just add them to get 450. That's how I would look at it. But whatever way you're more comfortable with. You can also make this an improper fraction and do it that way. 4 times 2 gives you 8. 8 plus 1 gives you 9/2 as a denominator of 100. 1 times 50 times 50, you get 450. Whichever way you're comfortable with. And there's probably some other way to do it too. I don't remember. Move your decimal point, Catherine. That's all you're doing. 2.6, once, twice. Horrible percent sign. 50. Is, we don't know our percent. Yeah, you see how it says what percent? You don't know your percent, so your percent is going to be over 100 every time, Catherine, and 12.5 is your part, and 50 is your whole. So you set up like this. With your x being over here. So again, just follow the template. Percent over 100 equals is over of. Right, so it's right away it says what percent there. So there's your giveaway. What percent? That's your x. So your percent's going to be your x. Can write without hitting my button. And then it has the word is here. Goes with that. Of is over here. Goes with that. Plug it in. You get that. Still on that layer. Yeah, I'm going to grade it, Eli. I mean, it's not going to be out of like 50 some points. It's a review. But I'm going to look at it a little more in depth than I do other things. Just so I can see where people are struggling in that. Number 5. Again, move your decimal point away from the percent sign. So we're going that direction 2 times. Once, twice. If you guys don't have enough time to finish this by Monday, that's fine too. People are already sending me emails about things that's going on. So just be working on it and try it out. For 50, is it 25? I don't know. Did we do that? What's 100 times? That is 1250 equals 50x. Divide that by 50. Divide this by 50. 1250 divided by 50. 25 is looking good. Yeah. Good job. Looking for 25. We have been on for 40 minutes, so if you've been working on this for the 40 minutes, you should be being like, hey, I'm done with math for now. but if you want to keep going, you can. If you have other questions, let me know. I do have to get off and work with someone else. So if you have questions, email me. I will give you answers to it on Monday when we first start, and we'll go from there. Just to double check to make sure we're understanding things and getting the first part of this chapter done. So keep working hard. You guys are doing good. Just don't forget, take breaks, pace yourself. What if you're not done? If you're not done, then you're not done. It's gonna take more time. It's not gonna break you, Eli. It was a lot of problems. I understand that, and you have other work you need to be working on. You got science to do too, so if you don't finish it, you don't finish it. That's fine. You'll have more time. Just be aware that it's something that needs to get done. Um, so we can talk more on Monday, but enjoy your weekend. Don't be too stressed out with all the work. So if you need more time, just let me know. I'll give you more time. It's not a big deal. As long as it's getting done, eventually we'll be good. So with that, I am going to end this, and I will talk to you Monday. So have a good weekend. Email if you have any further questions.